Ladies and gentlemen, for this introduction of our financial portal. For the purpose of this demonstration, I have chosen this particular portal, whereas we have number of other portals as well. The reason why I have chosen this is because this is a portal that is done in English, and also this is a portal that we have done for a stock broker where, so it makes more relevance to your scenario. So let me just start with the middle part of this portal where you see the main indices of this particular exchange, and you can also see other indices of the relevant market. You see the statistics of the market on that particular day, and you see the top gainers and the losers and the top volume and so on. And when you go further down, you can see the announcements of the market, any corporate events of this market, and finally you see the research reports. Now I would like to pause here for a little while and to illustrate to you that this particular broker has a very strong research section where they produce reports like daily reports, macro reports, weekly reports, sector reports, IPO reports likewise, and they even actually publish a magazine monthly called Market Pulse. So what they have done with this portal is that they are using our content management system, and they now publish everything through this portal, and some of these research reports are actually given free of charge, and some of them are given at a subscription where the user have to give his details like email and the telephone number. And even though they haven't done it so far, they are also planning to sell some of their research through the portal, because for a fund manager sitting in US, spending money on a research report is not really a concern. So this is what you can do with it. And if you look at the right hand side of it, you can see the top news of the market, some other news of the market, and any other financial market that is relevant to this particular country. For example, currency market, commodity market, and then money market and economic indicators. All these information are made available through our content management system. So depending on your country's preference to other financial information, we can make all of them made available. Towards the left side, you can see my watch list. So these are my stocks. So these are the only stocks that I'm interested in. So I will be looking at this a lot. So this is on the top left side of the portal. Any up and coming IPOs are listed separately. We have a very strong education section, which I will demonstrate in a little while. So we have something called a technical tip of the day, which we change every day. We always want to keep the portal very interesting, interactive, and fun. So we put features like cartoon of the day, a stock market related cartoon, and they conduct a poll. And also this portal is tightly integrated with all the leading social media networks like Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So this is just an overview of the home page. And if you may go into the different menus, let me first go into the indices menu. This is where you see all the indices and the sectors, and if you just click on this drop down, you can see the different indices of the market, and you can see different sectors of the market. And if you happen to select any particular sector, and what you will see here is that you can see the sector statistics and sector chart. This is what we call the basic chart, where you see different durations like day graph, weekly graph, monthly graph, and you can switch between different things like candlestick, OHHC, and so on. And one thing that I would like to highlight here is that when you select a particular sector, we will be listing down all the events in that particular sector, announcements in that particular sector, and the latest news in this particular sector. Let's just say that there was a fire in one of the factories, and this is now affecting this company. So when you select that sector, or maybe a tax change in a particular sector like plantation, so we tag all these news, events, and announcements with the sector. So somebody who's only interested in that sector will get to see all the events, news, and announcements related to that sector listed here separately. And of course, all the companies in that sector or the index are also listed down here. So you can see everything is integrated. Like I mentioned before, all the other markets, any other market that are significant like money market, commodity market, bond market, currency market, all can be made available using our content management system. Next is the companies, and let me actually tell you, ladies and gentlemen, before I start on the company section, the company information that we provide on our portal is second to none. You can compare this information with any other information source in the world, and we will rest assured that no other party will have this amount of information about a company in your country. So let me just take one such example. I have selected a company called Bata Shoe Limited. It's a popular shoe company in this country. So this is the overview page of Bata Shoe Limited. You can see that the stock information, the stock snapshot is here, the basic chart is here, likewise what I have shown you before. You have the stock statistics like market capitalization, shareholders equity, all that information here. Company statistics separated, listed down here separately. Any events like AGM or directors trading, all that will be listed here separately, and announcements will be listed here separately. If there was a news related to Bata Shoe, that will also be listed here separately. So this is essentially the overview of Bata Shoe Limited, whereas you can see so many other types of information, and let me just take you through one by one. And let me go to financial statements. When you go to financial statements, you can see that for the last 5 years or the last 5 quarters, we are presenting the complete balance sheet, the complete income statement, and the complete cash flow statement. So let me go into one by one. If you go to the balance sheet, you can see the complete balance sheet of Bata Shoe Limited for the last 5 years or the last 5 quarters. Similarly, if you click on the income statement, you can see the entire income statement for the last 5 years or the last 5 quarters, and similarly you can see the information for the last 5 years of the cash flow as well. So you can see that this provides lots of in-depth information, and this is, gentlemen and ladies, is processed information, whereas in most exchanges you find the PDF document where people have to download and read it themselves. So this is, in contrast, processed information. So let's just move on further. Let's go to the profile of Bata Shoe Limited, where you can see the logo of the company, purpose of the company, auditors of the company, who are the board members, who are the owners of the company, contact information. Sometimes this is very important. The address of the company, telephone number of the company, website of the company, likewise all that information is also given here. That is under profile. And gentlemen and the ladies, this information keeps getting better and better, and if you just click on this financial statement, by the way, I'm skipping some of these information for the purpose of time, and you can see that we are presenting so many different types of ratios. These are investor ratios. Now I just clicked on growth ratios. You have liquidity ratios. Now I'm looking at the growth ratios like annual revenue growth, annual net profit growth. Likewise, you have so many different types of ratios presented here. But perhaps the most interesting thing under the ratios is what is known as the peer comparison. Now let me just demonstrate that to you. When you go here, you can see that on this side what you see are all the ratios of Bata Shoe Limited, and you can see there's a box here and with some arrows. Now what you see here are all the different stocks in the same sector. Now see what happens when you click on the arrow. When you click on the arrow, what happens is you can see the different companies of the same sector keep on appearing. You can switch between them, and if you carefully look at the left hand side, you can see that these colors are changing. So what does it mean? It means that if it is green, meaning this side is better. If it is red, meaning this side is better. So you can now do a comprehensive analysis of which company is actually better or worse in the sector looking at this information. So this is the power of information that you provide in this portal, and this information about the company just keeps on growing. Let me move on to the statistics information, so you get all the statistics of the company as well. So I think with this information you will probably agree that no other source in the world covers this amount of information about this particular company in your country when you launch this portal. And even information like when directors buy and sell, those information are listed here separately. So this is the depth of information that we provide on a company. And of course on companies there are many other tabs which I'm not clicking right now, and I will move on to the news. News is of course very important in any market, regardless of where you are in the world. News is very important. It's a key driver of the market. Now the speciality that I want to point out here is that when you select the news, apart from the news we also list the stock that are related to that news. Why do we do that? We do that because sometimes the news impact the stock. Maybe it will go, because of the news the stock might go down or the stock might go up. So by linking the news with the stock, you can get an immediate impression whether the whether this news had an impact on the stock. So this information is given here separately. So you can see that there's a lot of attention to detail when it's come to these individual scenarios, and you can see there are so many different types of news categories also listed here. Okay, moving on to the research side of this portal. Under research, like I have previously mentioned, they have so many different types of research reports, and now they are using all their research to be handled through this portal, because using our content management system, they will be giving certain information free of charge, certain information at a subscription likewise. And information like mutual funds, if your country has a strong mutual fund section, you can click on the mutual fund and get equally strong information, equally depth of information like what I have shown you in the company. You can get the mutual fund overview, the performance, the contact information, portfolio information, likewise the information which we keep on growing. So this will be the chart of the mutual fund and other information, and all that is given here separately. Okay, no product will be complete without having nice tools, and when it's come to this portal, we have number of tools that helps both very basic investor as well as a professional investor. Of course, we have to keep in mind this is a financial portal presented in the internet, so it's accessible to everyone. We have to present information in a very easy to understand way. For that, we have introduced something called market map. Now I want you to look at carefully that this big box is the 100% of the stock exchange, whereas this yellow box is the size of the sector in terms of volume. Out of the volume traded today, which sector have done the best volume? It's the bank. Second is textile, and third is power, and likewise it keeps on going. Now if I may just click on this insurance right now, then insurance sector becomes 100%, and within insurance sector it tells me which it's the global insurance which have done the highest volume. Likewise, you can get a good glimpse of which stocks have performed the best. So this is the kind of visual information that we present so that people can understand this information very easily. You can look at it in terms of volume, you can look at the information in terms of turnover or trades as well. So this visual information goes to another level with something called market cap. We believe this is the first of its kind in the world, where market capitalization of the exchange is given here. This is the 100% of the market capitalization of this exchange, and what you see here is the sector composition of that market capitalization in this market. For example, it seems like banking sector is the biggest market cap contributor in this exchange. Second seems to be telecommunication, third seems to be power, likewise. Now when I click on a sector, let me click on engineering, then engineering becomes 100%. So this is the total market capitalization of engineering sector, and then within engineering sector you can see which companies are having the highest market cap. You can see Olympic seems to be having a big market cap, likewise. So if I now click on Olympic, which will now be the 100%, and this will show me the composition of the balance sheet of this Olympic insurance company. You can get a good look at how exposed they are in terms of liabilities and assets and so on. You can get a good understanding of the financial health of this organization. So this is the kind of visual information that we present so that people can understand easily. Earlier that I've shown you that we have a basic chart, and we also have a technical chart which we call the advanced chart. Here you can see all the stocks are listed here, so depending on the stock you select, the information will appear here separately. You can see the stock chart here. You can do drawings and you can do analysis. You can do different technical analysis like moving average, Bollinger Bands, stochastic oscillator, fast stochastic, and likewise all this information is present to you. If you are conversant with technical analysis, you can perform all your technical analysis from this window itself, and there are so many other features which I'm not touching on. So it's a comprehensive analytical charting tool which we call our advanced chart. And finally, on the tools, by the way, there are so many other tools which I'm not showing, but finally on the tools I will show you a feature that is commonly available in most of the developed market portals like CNN Money, MSN Money, and Google Finance, and so on, where you get a very comprehensive stock screen where you can say, okay, show me the stocks which are trading between this price and that price, where the earnings per share is between this price and that price, and also at the same time the number of trades for the day is between this and that. So you select that and you search for it, and it will filter down immediately the stocks that matching that criteria, so you can do a narrow down of exactly what you want immediately using this screen. Fine. So those are some of introduction to some of the tools. And of course we have something called My Tools, where you have to register yourself to use these tools, where you can look at your watch list. Okay, these are the stocks that I own, these are the stocks that I bought, this is the gain or loss that I have incurring so far. And at the same time, some people are scared to trade. They don't want to put their real money before trading. So for them we have a yet another feature where you can trade with your bogus money. Okay, we give you 1 million bogus money, you trade with it, you see whether you can make money or not, and depending on your success you can now move on to the real scenario. So these are the kind of different tools that we give. We also provide email alerts where you don't have to keep on calling the broker and get to know all the information, where if an event happened related to your stock, that we will fire an email to you so that you will get to know that. How many times people miss out on rights issues, so all that information is emailed so that they won't miss out on that information. Fine. Finally, I would like to touch on education. This portal has a very strong education section. You can see there's something called Help Me Learn. This starts from the most basic questions and build on to some of the most advanced questions. Some of the basic questions are as silly as for example, I'm not rich, how much money is needed to start investing? Help me fill the forms. How do I know which stock to buy? And even questions like, is it true that the stock market is controlled by a handful of individuals and all others are playing to them? These are most basic general questions that any new investor have in their mind, mostly the retail investor. So when you're through with these basic questions, you can ask more advanced questions, you can ask IPO based questions, you can ask corporate actions based questions, and there's a section for foreign investors. Questions like, is this market open for foreigners? What do I have to get a brokering account? And even questions like, okay, tell me about this country briefly. So we have a separate section for foreign investors as well. And when you are conversant with that level of information, we have another education section for more technical uses. Earlier I've shown you technical charting. Now technical charting is great, but unfortunately not too many people knows about these things. People like to learn about these things. For example, at the end of the day, any technical indication can only tell you three things: whether it's a good time to buy, whether it's a good time to sell, or whether it's a good time to hold. So we give a technical article every single day, very brief article, where we introduce the technical indicator like MACD, and then we tell you what the buy signal is, what the sell signal is. So what we say is that anybody who's coming to office, or any retail investor can start reading these articles daily, and when you start reading daily, in about 2 weeks time after you read, you suddenly becomes an expert. Maybe not an expert, at least somebody who's familiar with these things. So you can see that we have published so many articles every single day, so anybody can refer to this and get a good idea of what the technical analysis is all about. So this is the strength of our education section. You can see that there are so many other scenarios which I'm not going into. So this is the education section, and finally I would like to finish off with one last section where we actually like to keep things very interactive and fun. So with that in mind, we have introduced a entertainment section which we call a take a break, and there is something called cartoons where we give a cartoon every day. You can see there are so many different types of cartoons. So let me pick this particular cartoon where this I think wife of this trader comes and tell him that all this internet trading has caused you to neglect our children, and the guy asks, what children? So likewise stock market related cartoons. And we also have a joke section, like a stock market joke section where, okay, let me pick this one. It says slept like a baby. Okay, the market may be bad, but I slept like a baby last night. which means I woke up every hour and cried. So likewise, it's a stock market related joke. So just to keep everyone fun and interactive. So this is the depth and breadth of this portal. The reason why we call this a portal and not a website is because this has so much of breadth of information, so much of depth of information. As you have seen, this has news, this has market information, this has company information, this has news information, this has research information, this has mutual fund information, this has so many different types of tools. It has a forum, it has an education section, and it also has an entertainment section. With all this information bundled together, we call it a financial portal. And at the beginning I mentioned that we produce so many different types of portals. This is just one of them, and as you can see, these are some of the other examples of our portals in around the world. This is an example in Turkey, one such portal. This is another portal that we have done for another government newspaper. Another broker, let me switch that, and this is yet another broker. As you can see, even though we produce so many different types of portals, they are custom made to the user. For example, in case of any broker in your country, we will be doing it completely based on your labeling, your theme colors, and your preferences. So this is how we white label all our solutions. So this was just a very brief introduction to the portal, and I think you got a good idea of what this portal has to offer, and I would like to end here. Thank you very much.